Hello and welcome to this lecture on useful and harmful microbes. As you might know, the microbes is an alternative word for microorganisms. Micro is the one which cannot be seen through naked eyes, which needs a microscope to be able to see. An organism means a living being, so microorganisms. It's interesting that some microorganisms are useful to the human being and to the plants and animals, and the others can be harmful. Uh, Mind you, some of the microorganisms which cause various diseases are deadly. Go through them in details later in this lecture. So there are various types. In fact, there are millions of different types of microorganisms, and we're not going to see all of them, but we'll just go through few of them systematically, which are relevant to our syllabus at our level. Now, the microbes can exist as a single isolated one cell form, or they can coexist in a colony form where lots of cells stay together. And here are the five major classes of microbes, which include bacteria, fungi, algae, protozoa, and viruses. Now, in this lecture, we're going to have a look at a few important and relevant of these. Now let us look at a list of common useful microbes. Lactobacilli, which is related to our day-to-day living. Rhizobium are similar. They are related to the plants, the roots on the plants specifically. And yeast, again, it's commonly used in our food items, and it's very common to see yeast in the nature around us. So we'll go through these three common useful microorganisms. So let's start with lactobacilli. Lactobacilli are related to the milk and milk products. Now, the buttermilk we Indians consume on day-to-day basis, if you take a small drop of buttermilk and observe it under compound microscope, you will be able to see a blue rod-shaped, mobile, very minute organisms under the microscope, and they're usually rectangular in shape, like the diagram at the top of this slide in the right corner. These are lactobacilli, and they are anaerobic bacteria. The word anaerobic means they survive without air, without oxygen, and they can produce energy without using oxygen, which is opposite of aerobic. We are aerobic animals, the human being, because without oxygen, without air, we cannot survive, we cannot produce energy. But the lactobacilli are anaerobic organisms. Now let's look at the process, how milk gets converted into a curd or yogurt. This is a very simple process involving lactobacilli. The lactobacilli have certain enzymes. They convert the lactose of milk and the sugar present in the milk into lactic acid. This process of formation of lactic acid is called as fermentation. Now, lactic acid causes increased acidity of the milk. Remember one thing, increased acidity means reduced pH of the milk. The reduced pH leads to the coagulation of the milk proteins. Coagulation means they clump together. The milk proteins, they get together and they get separated from other milk components. And this results in formation of a curd or a yogurt. Now, the lactic acid in the yogurt gives it a sour taste. It has a specific taste. It is due to lactic acid. And acidity, that means low pH, also is not good for the harmful microorganisms. So they get killed from milk, which makes buttermilk or curd safer for the human consumption. Now look at this flow chart on the right, which shows the process of industrial production of the yogurt from fresh milk. The fresh milk from cows and buffaloes goes through different stages: standardization of the fat, homogenization, pasteurization, and then inoculation is the stage where these lactobacilli are added to the milk and they convert milk into yogurt. Now you don't need to know details of this chart. This I have just added this for extra information for you all. So this is how milk gets converted into curd, yogurt, and we get buttermilk and curdy for our daily eating and drinking. This is a very common food in Indian culture. Your book mentions few questions in this chapter, and we'll try to go through these questions one by one. The first question is, why do doctors advise us to have yogurt or buttermilk if we get indigestion or abdominal discomfort? Let's have a look at this question in the next slide. Now, the reason why yogurt and buttermilk like products, which are called as probiotics, are advised is because they maintain the balance between bad bacteria and good bacteria in the gut, and this leads to improved symptoms of indigestion and abdominal discomfort such as acidity, bloating, or diarrhea. And that's why these products are very famous, especially in the Western cultures. These buttermilk and yogurt products have been commercialized to a large extent. Not so in India, because we traditionally use milk, buttermilk, and curd in yogurt products in our day-to-day eating anyway. So that's the difference between West and the Indian diet. Let's look at this question now. Sometimes the yogurt and the products, curd and yogurt products, they become a bit bitter, and there is a froth on the surface of it. So why does this happen? Now the explanation to this is curd can become bitter because the fermentation process, which is responsible for conversion of a milk to curd, can take place to the extensive degree, to excess degree, and this fermentation, which converts lactose in the milk to lactic acid, if it happens to excessive degree, that will lead to excessive generation of lactic acids. So that will create the bad taste and froth. So that is why we need to make sure there is an appropriate level of fermentation. And once the curd and yogurt is formed, we should keep these products in the refrigerator so they don't refrigeration stops or slows down fermentation process and preserves milk products for longer duration. Let's look at the next question. Which different milk products can be obtained at home by fermentation of the milk? Now, depending on where you live, which part of the country you live, which country of the world you live, there will be different milk products made out of fermentation process, and that will depend on the local traditions and local culture. We in India we produce curd, buttermilk, ghee, lassi, chas, matta, this kind of products. And from curd you can make shrikhand and various dairy products you can get in the market as well, and you can make them at home. Now look at this question. What is meant by probiotic yogurt and other foodstuff that are popular nowadays? Now, useful microorganisms like lactobacilli are added to the eatables, and these eatables they become healthy so that they kill harmful bacteria which are there in our gut like Clostridium, and they increase the useful bacteria and they improve our gut immunity. The probiotic yogurt is the yogurt which contains live active bacteria. Most natural or regular yogurt they are probiotic. A normal serving of yogurt contains billions of bacteria, and these bacteria are beneficial bacteria for the gut and for the body. That's why these products they help to normalize the indigestion, which is the disturbance of the digestion, and many times the doctors advise people to take probiotic food stuff when we do suffer from indigestion. Now the next topic is uses of lactobacilli. This slide lists various uses of lactobacilli, and I'll just read them out for you. Various milk products, as we have seen in the previous slides, they are obtained from milk by a process called fermentation. There is industrial or large scale production of the food products like cider, cocoa, and pickles from various vegetables, and they use process of fermentation in making these products, and lactobacilli are the mainstay of fermentation process. Lactobacilli are mixed in various food products or in medications, and they are used to treat the abdominal discomfort and various complaints such as indigestion, bloating, diarrhea. Now, some of the fodder offered to the domestic animals like cows and buffalo, they do contain lactobacilli, so they are easy to digest for these animals, and they also boost the immunity in these animals to keep them healthy. Lactobacilli are also part of fermentation process used to make wine, and also in bakery industry to make different types of breads. Some lactobacilli are used as a soil supplement in various agricultural products. So you can see there are many uses of lactobacilli. There are many more uses, but these are the common and relevant ones for your level. Now you may have noticed in your books there is a section under this heading called research, and the state board or the people who have devised your syllabus, they expect you to do your own study, go out and search the topic in more details, what actually happens on the ground, and they also expect you to study, find out from books and internet, and ask different people who are expert or experienced in the field and improve your knowledge in particular field. So here the topic is which types of cottage industries and factories can be started in areas with abundant milk production. So I have mentioned few points here which are relevant to the industries and businesses which can develop in relation to the milk industry. Now I would suggest you to find out more about each of these. So you can go and visit these places, speak to the people who are involved, who are running these businesses, these industries, find out from different sources like books, internets, speak to your teachers and ask them more details about these topics. So milk processing is the main industry which will run based on availability of the milk in the area, and milk will be processed, it will be pasteurized, packed into the bags or bottles, and it will be supplied to different parts, mainly to the big cities, for people to consume the milk. So find out how this milk processing industry runs. You can visit a local factory or the dairy which processes the milk on a large scale. The second point is transportation industry. As milk and milk products, they need transporting from one part to the other. Obviously, where the milk production is more, transportation industry will grow. Similarly, if you have more buffalo and cattle and bulls available in the area, then there will be industries which are based on animal products such as beef industry. So these industries will go, and India is one of the leading countries where beef is produced and it is exported to the other countries where beef is consumed in large quantities. Apart from this, there will be growth of the industry related to animal food and the agriculture to produce food for animal and to use animals into the farm in their farms. These businesses will grow as well. In industry to produce, to make and distribute farm equipment, animal husbandry, the veterinary practices to maintain the animal health, and milk distribution systems to distribute milk to the users, to the customers. This will be the basic industries and factories and businesses which will grow in the area where there is abundant milk production. Now your job is to find out more details of each of these and improve your understanding and knowledge.